Behave. That was just on record. All right, good morning. I am going to go ahead and call the Citizens Advisory Board meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, please. Here.
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 Thank you. Notice of this meeting was properly posted on January 13th, 2026. Could I, Ferlin, would you mind doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I don't believe we have any citizen participation this morning. So with that, we will move on to the approval, discussion, and possible action regarding the minutes from our November 25th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Great. Judith. Okay, perfect. All those in favor, please communicate such on your... What's that? Oh, verbally as well. Do you want to do roll call? Okay, go ahead. Yes.
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 Great, thank you all. Now we'll move on to the presentation from the Oklahoma County Detention Center representative, Mark Opgrand. Welcome. Yeah. Mark, is your microphone on? I know. No.
Okay, testing. There we go.
Oh,
Perfect.
Now you're hot. There you
All
go.
right. So we're going to talk about the cadet academies, new security, medical staffing, technology, and resident statistics. So let me just start off by saying this is the December snapshot of the bookings and everything at the jail. Right now, it is 1481 today is the inmate population and 97 judgment and sentences. Those are the people awaiting transfer to DOC. We have gotten that number down from about 225 in September to October. So we've gone down from 225 all the way down to 97. And a lot of that was our meetings with DOC and also the purchase of the 3 transport vans in order to get those. They were doing about 36 transfers a week, plus all the females that have JNSs. And now I think it's up to about 24, something like that, we're doing every single week. And so that number would never get down to 0 just because there's a number of people who are sentenced, but you get sentenced on one and you still have other things that you need to do there and other court cases. So that number would never be down to 0, but we want to keep it under 100 and see if we can get even lower than that. So hopefully, it's just all dependent on across the street here, across the alleyway of how many people get sentenced every single day. And there's a number of them every single day. So the average daily population decreased from 1693 in September, 1599 in October, 1501 in November, and 1429 average daily population in December. That's a decrease of an average of 264 a day. So that does help a lot. Okay, Detention Officer Academy. We have an academy going on right now. We started with 13. Unfortunately, we now only have 9. So we've lost a few people in the academy, which in some cases is a good thing. We'd rather find out now that they don't have the skills to be a detention officer than 6, 7, 8 weeks from now, or when they get on the floors, sign them to a platoon, and then they end up leaving right after it. So it's good to know right now how many people we have, but we're also actively recruiting for the next Detention Officer Academy, and we have several people that are signed up already. I'm not sure when that starts, but it'll probably be I think we're looking at probably 1st of May is when that academy will start, the next one. Because this takes 8 weeks, and then they do several weeks of on-the-job training before they actually get assigned to platoon or an area of the jail that they're going to work. Maintenance, information technology. We've installed some new of the razor wire fencing around some of the areas at the jail. They're doing that right now. This is just an extra security to add what we already have. They're doing food port modifications on the doors. We've been doing that for several months. One of the 2 Baker has been completed on the top, so that's about, I want to say that's 25 doors. And then on the bottom 2 as well, they're on 25. They're doing the bottom floor as we speak right now. We purchased some new desktops. They're rolling out to computer consoles for staff. This is the first purchase we've made since in 5.5 years. Most people know about technology is you need to start turning those over after a few years. And so it's been 5.5 years. So we're rolling out new desktops to a lot of the areas, make sure these processors work faster, more efficient for everyone here. Again, the jail tracker, that's the jail management system. We're still looking at that. We've been looking at other systems too as well. We have this on, of course, we have a contract with them for another year or 2, so that's not going away right now. But we're just looking, being prudent to look at other services, other groups that do this jail tracking software, jail management software, to make sure that we're getting everything that we need in order to continue as we go into the future with operations. Criminal investigation stats, we opened 29 cases and they closed 29 cases. Possession of contraband inside a jail was one big one, and I'll talk about that here in a second. I think it was some meth, some marijuana found inside an individual. Our investigating staff, when they're not actively investigating crimes, they are on the floors every day doing cell searches. They'll pick an area of the jail and they'll all go up there and they'll pull people out and they'll search the cells, looking for narcotics, for drugs, for shanks, weapons, those natures. They had reported to us the other day that they are finding less and less every time they go up there. And we believe it's just a direct result of being diligent and going up and picking different areas and searching in order to let people know we're looking for these things. So that's something that I think we're very proud of. And again, the investigators report also a significant reduction of narcotics in the facility based on people searching all these cells, all these areas daily. Again, this is what we were talking about. This was the other day, about a couple weeks ago. Detention officers and someone at pat-down, they discovered it was meth and methamphetamine and marijuana inside of a person's body, also caught by the scanner, the body scanner when they came in. So we were able to pull that out. So and that is the largest one we found in a long time. So the hope is that's getting less and less as we ramp up being more and more diligent. Medical division, that's one thing we've been really concentrating on. Since October, we've added 31 new staff to the medical division, shoring that up. Of course, we have a contract, a temporary staffing contract, Total Medical. They provided us with 17 temporary contract medical staff. And of course, we've added 14 more to our regular staff during that time period. Now, Narcan is the one thing where in December of 2024, we administered 20 Narcan. In December of 25, we did 3 total. Nursing staff did 1, and the other 2 were done by staff before medical even arrived. So that total is 3. So that's a significant reduction we've seen. ER send-outs in December, we sent out 34 people by EMSA to the hospital. Admission days, we had 9 inmates spend a total of 50 days in the hospital. Sick calls. Sick calls are on NCIC. That is our phone system. That is the system where inmates will log into and they will send requests. The sick call request saying, I need to see a nurse or a doctor for whatever reason. There was 1,752 of those that they answered during the month. And then mental health encounters, the mental health area did encounters just going to cells and talking with people on intake, some type of a mental health intervention, 2,629 times they did that during the month of December. Current population statistics, that stays pretty much the same every month. The average population age is 37 years old. And the largest population in the jail are between ages 25 and 34. Of course, males make up 84%, females about 16% of the total population. And that's usually standard every single month. Okay, OCPD December bookings. They booked a total of 1,210 individuals in during the month of December. 496 had city charges only, tickets and municipal warrants. That's no state charges. 714 were state charges and possibly city charges as well. Out of the 496, 442 were released in less than 10 hours. 52 of those that weren't are due to having to take them or hold them until we take them in front of municipal court. Sometimes because of what they're charged with, the courts will want to see them before they can be released on OR bond. December top arresting agencies. Oklahoma City, of course, leads the way. Oklahoma County Sheriff, Edmond Police Department, Midwest City, and Del City. Those are typically the top 5 that we have. OHP comes in every now and then around the lines of Edmond and Midwest City. Now, this is something new we did just for the yearly end look. The total OCDC bookings from 2020 since the trust took over to 2025. As you can see in this last year, we booked in 22,976 total bookings. 14,776 were from Oklahoma City Police. That is the most in the trust era. And for Oklahoma City, it's almost 1,000 more than their largest year. So we're kind of going back. Possibly this is getting back to pre-COVID levels. Now, if people know a little bit about the jail, about 15 years ago, the jail would book in about 44,000 people a year. So that number has been drastically reduced. And it's not really on the jail to do that. It's local law enforcement. About half the amount of people that used to be booked in are now booked into the jail. So that's a significant number to go through over the last, and that's happened about the last 10 to 15 years. Current population charges. So of all the people that are in the jail right now, these are the number of felonies and misdemeanors that have been filed against all of them. So it's 1,516 criminal felonies have been filed, 951 criminal misdemeanors. And remember, a lot of these people have more than one charge. That's why the number's higher. Murder and manslaughter, right now, we have 139 individuals in the jail on a murder charge and 22 on a manslaughter charge. Top 10 current charges. This is something that really doesn't change too much, but we had the number 1 charge, of course, being possession of CDS, and then also firearm by felon. As you can see, 7% second-degree burglary. That's new this month. What we can surmise from that is sometimes during the year, it will change based on what's going on outside. Of course, it's Christmas time. So you might have had a lot of more second-degree burglary charges. That would also equate to someone being a porch pirate, taking mail, packages delivered to your house, things of that nature. Special housing classification. Now, this is what we do with protective custody. These are individuals that we watch closely and have to move them away from general population. It's 205 average per day. That's down 23 people per day from November. Mental health observation. These are people that are getting a higher level of mental health observation. 311 average per day. That's 10 more than we had in November. And sentence inmates, again, 137 was the average per day for the month of December. That's down 50 from November. And again, today it is at 97. Okay, transient population homeless. This is something we track, but this is also just dependent on the individuals that are brought in when we ask the question. We have no way to verify if they are in fact homeless, but we ask the question. Total bookings, December, 292 individuals indicated to us that they were homeless. 22 of those were duplicate arrests, means they had more than one, and one individual had 3 arrests during the month. And that's unique individuals of 297 people booked into the jail, reported to us that they are homeless. So that's really all we have to go on with that. Resident welfare programs, again, we have a lot of the programs going. We have a proposed program that I think, I don't know if it's not proposed now. I think it's going to be starting soon. A new program for Peace City Pathways and Task. And so we are getting some of those programs on board now, and they're going to be starting here in the next month. And that is it for the presentation. If you have any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any questions from my colleagues?
I do. How was the retention from the last academy?
The last academy, I'll have to take a look, but I think it was, we had over 20 who started. I think we ended up at 14.
I'm curious how many of the 14 are still with you.
I'm not sure. I can check on that. I think a lot of them are.
Okay.
But it is usually about 20 to 30%
Okay.
in a class actually ends up going.
Where does recruitment for the academy, any particular areas or demographics that you're targeting?
So we mostly advertise on Indeed. We've done things over the years, like we did billboards, did electronic billboards. We also did the bus benches, and that really didn't give us any more than what we were doing. We found doing other things. We've advertised in the media before, and it's never really given us much more than what we get through going through Indeed and just word of mouth and having employees. It's a constant. We do it every day. We take applications every day, and when somebody comes in and they apply, they're immediately, if they pass everything, background check, and are a good fit, we hire them right away. And we'll put them to work in other areas that are non-security until the next academy comes. I think right now we may have 3 people who will be in the next academy already, and we're using them in central control at the front desk. We're using them all around until that happens.
That's good. That's good. On page 15, the top 10 current charges.
Okay.
I noticed from a comparison with the report that was done, probably 3 months ago, there is an absence of the charge of public intoxication.
Yes.
Which at that time, the numbers for public intox and obstructing an officer were running neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
So we felt like maybe there might be some correlation to that. But I noticed that that charge is not on here at all.
Yes. A lot of those, what I have seen throughout the years, is a lot of those will happen during the summertime. Mm-hmm. You get a lot more people out, a lot of people downtown. And so you'll have a lot more, and it's lighter out, so you'll have a lot more people that come and utilize a lot of the things they can do downtown. So you'll get more of those during the summer months, going into fall, and then again, like right now, you're getting the Christmas times. You're gonna have a second-degree burglary, and so those will come and go. And I've seen a few of them over the years that they're usually at the end and they'll drop off. Our system does a top 10. There is on the jail tracker system that it basically makes this map. It makes this spread, this graphic right here that shows these are the top 10 things that people are being booked in right now. So when they drop off, I don't see where they went. I just know that they're not on this list. Okay. And so a lot of that I think it happens throughout seasonal.
Well, I'm hoping that even as it warms up, mm-hmm. we can begin to attribute some of that to officers taking people to the public inebriated instead of bringing them to the county jail.
And that's probably something that those agencies will do on their own. Maybe they'll make a decision, we're not going to bring them here for this, we're going to take them over here and utilize some other area, and that could be. And for us, the less people they're bringing, the better.
Thank you.
I have a question in regard, we all know that OCPD is our biggest provider, if you will. Where are we? Do you know where we are in relationship to a contract and settling how much they're going to pay us per inmate per day?
So on Monday's meeting, the trust approved a contract that we are going to sign and send to them. And that the chairman over here initiated that. And so I believe we're just waiting for them to take a look at it. And
verbally, they said they would agree.
Okay.
And $171 first day and $71.36
I believe.
second day.
Yeah.
If I'm not exact on the pennies, I'm correct.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard that. They have verbally.
We're going to
agreed.
quote him on those amounts.
Yeah. They apparently have verbally agreed to the numbers that we've sent them. They'll just need to look at the contract and then go through their process.
But verbally, the chief said he would agree with them. We just don't have it inked yet, I don't think.
Okay.
And that's retroactive back to July 1, where this fiscal year.
Were you finished? Just to piggyback on him, the money that they owed in arrears, have they paid that? Last time we spoke, they were,
They haven't paid any money for the entire year.
okay,
Yeah, and what we'll do is once this contract is settled, then we'll go back and they'll start from July 1st. So we'll be able to recoup all that money up to this point for the contract.
okay, perfect. So since we spoke last, we've got 2 new federal lawsuits. Can you explain that, what happened?
I don't know anything about the federal lawsuits. That's not my area.
Well,
That would be for-
people not getting out 5 days after judges ordered them to be released, and they were still sitting there, and their attorneys were all over the news. And
Well, I can tell you that what Director Kimmery, or Administrator Kimmery, said at the last meeting is that we have implemented that going forward. It's our goal is no less than 12, no less than 12 on every release possible. That is something we're shooting for. We'd like to go less than that, of course, but right now what we're attempting to do is make sure that we keep hitting that 12 mark and below. And I can say that, I've worked at the sheriff's, or I was with the sheriff too, and since 2015, and that was something that they had worked on diligently at that time too as well. And so that's what I've been told is the goal going forward right now. And then of course, as we get more staff, and then we can fill different areas, and hopefully that'll go further down.
sure. Well, these people were like 5 days after the judge had ordered them released. It took 5 days to get them out, not a few hours.
Yeah.
So that's my question. What are we doing? What happened there?
Well, as far as federal lawsuits go, we can't even comment on anything that's been filed, but I can tell you that the goal is going forward is it has been addressed in trying to get people out of there as soon as possible and starting at that 12-hour mark and bringing it down.
Okay, thank you.
Mark, the last time I was at the jail facilitating focus groups, one of the reoccurring themes I kept hearing was how much the detainees just really appreciated the tablets, but that the tablets were not currently being utilized at that time, that they had been removed for a variety of reasons. Can you provide an update on the status of the tablets?
So we met with NCIC, and that is discussions right now, how many more tablets we can get. Then going forward, what we're going to have to do is be more diligent on our end in order to control them and monitor them and make sure we have them and we're handing them out and we're getting them back. So that is in the process right now. Because we would like to do a 1-to-1 ratio. So every person who gets booked in has the access and has the tablet at the time. There's been some areas of the jail that people will hoard them. They will use them as currency.
Right.
They will break them. And so those are things we're addressing at the same time. The hope is that to get a 1-to-1 ratio, it'll take care of some of those problems. And make sure you're assigned to a tablet when you come in. So that is your responsibility. You need to hang on to it and give it back to us when you leave.
Yeah. Okay. So. Great. Thank you.
Dramatically impact some of their participation in the class, like with homework and stuff like that. So we've been making some of those adjustments for them, but we're hoping that 1-to-1 will do it.
Yeah, and that's our goal.
Great. All right. Any additional comments or questions for Mark?
Oh, okay. So he'd asked me to explain if you had any questions about exactly where the tablets come from. So we have a contract with a group called NCIC. They're the telephone provider. They do telephone service. They provide tablets in order to do video visits, to do text messaging, to send pictures back and forth, and they do all their if they need medical care, they can request. If they we did a big one, if they have bugs in their cell or they see mice or something like that, they can fill out a report and we'll send the exterminator, the guy who does the spraying. He'll come up and address those issues. So what happens is that we've talked with them, and originally they provided us with 750, and that was a decision made by the prior administration. So what we need to do, what we're doing with them now, is getting them to then send and prepare 750 more is the goal. So that's what we're working on right now. That's no cost to us. We don't have to pay for them.
Okay.
But they will have to get the iPads, and then they will send it us. So they're actually NCIC's property, but we will be the ones that control them, who monitor them, and then send. They actually have a guy on staff, an employee that's there that works at the jail
Mm.
that monitors the program. He does he fixes cell phones that are in the cells, because they also do the phones in the cell to make the phone calls too. So he has to fix those if they're broken and replace and such.
So when the tablets are damaged, is that cost expense come from the detention center, or is that passed along to the provider?
I want to say it's passed along to NCIC, but the more you get, it could affect how
Sure.
much, because they're initially providing all these things,
Right.
and if they start getting broken or lost, they don't necessarily have an incentive to send us more.
Sure.
Although that's how they make their money, the telecom systems
Sure.
make their money. So, but it's just on us to figure out where they are, and if somebody breaks them, we report them to them, and then they can replace it. But then the question comes is, why'd they break it, and should they get a new one if they
Right.
just broke the one they just had?
Right.
So hopefully we're working through all those issues right
Great.
now and trying to figure out a plan for that.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I
Thank
would
you.
I would just throw out for consideration, because residents who are eligible for some of the classes, particularly the GED class and the job readiness class, because they only come from specific pods where there are fewer behavioral outbreaks and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe there are enough tablets for everyone in those pods to receive them.
Yeah.
So then the tablets can act like an incentive.
Yeah.
To people in other areas.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're looking at, because again, the goal is to have a 1-to-1 ratio, so that when you get booked in, you get a tablet as well, and then that'll have all the information on it. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Appreciate you, Mark. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. We'll move on to our next agenda item, report and discussion from the Recruitment and Retention Subcommittee. Sean.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, it's afternoon, sort of, almost. So I have a few questions. I have a meeting planned for the members of the Recruitment and Retention Subcommittee. But one of the things that I was questioning is if subcommittee meetings must be in this area, or are we free to schedule those meetings outside of here and then bring the report back here? Because that impacts, if the meetings have to be here, that means they have to be during the daytime. And some of the people that I'd like to serve on the committee are not available to meet during the daytime. So I thought we could use some clarity around that for all of the committees.
They have to be here. So are you saying it is possible to have subcommittee meetings? Gotcha. So we would have to dismantle the subcommittees and have discussion groups, so to speak.
Okay.
Because the nature of our Citizens Advisory Board is such that we adhere to, the requirements of Open Meetings Act, which means then that, yes, of course, for these meetings, but also for any of the formal subcommittees that have been designated on behalf of the CAB.
Okay.
Can
Does that make sense to everybody?
I'm a little confused. Not confused, but inquisitive. Could we ask for a legal opinion on the fact that if we scheduled a committee meeting, say on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, as long as it was legally posted and met the qualifications for the Open Meeting Act, could we not hold it, say, at the Belle Isle Library in a conference room? Because
It has to be clerked.
It
That's
has
the
to be
point.
clerked?
it has to be clerked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in short, all of the subcommittees we have identified as long as they are subcommittees, those meetings need to be here so that they can be clerked, follow Open Meetings Act and all of that. If instead of subcommittee, they were discussion groups, then we are free to schedule those meetings. Right.
Right.
But those of us who chair, we are free to recruit for people to participate in those discussion groups. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then, but we can do the formal report here. Okay. So it sounds like it requires a motion that we dissolve the subcommittees and that we then establish discussion. So we don't need a motion to establish the discussion groups. Okay.
Even still, with the discussion groups, we would still have to adhere to the quorum.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't ever have a quorum at those discussion groups in the sense of CAB member quorum. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Mm-mm. Say that one more time.
So to again continue to adhere to the open meetings and be in compliance. Even in email communication, we cannot have a quorum, so to speak, of communication that's happening outside of what's being clerked. So if we're all together, right. So all I'm saying is on a subcommittee, we cannot have the quorum of the CAB in attendance at those discussion groups.
Oh, right, because
Yeah.
they're not being clerked.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So to my colleagues, is that what we want to do?
I am a committee of one, so.
Only because you haven't recruited for
That's
your
right.
committee yet.
Yeah. Doesn't
Well,
mean you won't be
Yeah, so.
in the
but,
future. Right.
Yeah, at this point, since we met last, I've just done a bunch of studying on county government and county funding and the budget process. And so, but yeah, at this point, subcommittee discussion group, I don't care either way, whatever you guys want to do.
Because for me, I mean, there is, I think we recognize as a CAB that there are a lot of things that need to happen, a lot of movement, a lot of discussion that needs to happen, some of which can't happen just in this group. We can get some movement. I have a recruitment and retention, and we can get some movement with that. All of that will not happen here, but certainly will be reported here. Okay. So with that, then I make a motion that we dissolve the subcommittees for the Citizens Advisory Board.
Do you can just some discuss? Can we have some discussion? Is this just for the recruitment and retention subcommittee? I don't think it's only on this item. And your motion, Deshawn, is
Okay.
only for the recruitment and retention subcommittee, just for
Yes.
clarity purposes.
So I make a motion that we dissolve the recruitment and retention subcommittee. I don't need to say, but okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second that.
Okay. Yes.
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 Okay. Moving on then. Report and discussion from the. Did you have additional?
So no, now that it's a discussion group, but I don't need to say when my meeting date is.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Report and discussion from the Policies and Procedures Subcommittee. Jimmy.
That would be me.
Yes.
Well, at this point in time, I've tried to recruit and I have no one.
Okay.
So I'm a committee of one as well for everyone. But to that point, before I make any other motion, I guess I need some clarification. Do we have a copy of the policies and procedures at this point in time that I could look at? I like that look, Aaron.
So when you say policies and procedures, do you mean the policies and procedures of the Oklahoma County Detention Center?
Well, that's a little where I'm a little confused. Is that what I'm, is that
Yes.
what my, yeah, then
Yes.
yes. Do we have a copy of that I could
So if
get
we
my hands on?
if I do, it's buried in an email from about 4 years ago. So my recommendation would be to reach out to administration.
I'll reach out
yeah.
to the
Yeah.
director
And
too.
get whatever is most current.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I too, much like Ms. Jones, would like to make a motion to dissolve the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee.
I'll second that.
Yes.
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 Okay. Moving on. Report and discussion from the Community Relationships Subcommittee. The chair of that is Christine, and she is not here today, so we are going to move on to the next agenda item. Report and discussion from the Finance and Operations Subcommittee of one. Berlin.
Committee of one.
That's right.
So, operation-wise, we talked last time, I explained a little bit briefly about this bill we're trying to run at the Capitol, which would alleviate some of these J&S prisoners in the county jail. Instead of, if they're nonviolent criminals, offenders, they're not an escape risk, they will self-report to the Department of Corrections. If you've got somebody that's not a flight risk or a danger to the public, there's no reason for them to go to court and get handcuffed and go to the county jail for however long, and then go to Lexington for however long, and then they end up in a minimum security or community center anyway. So we're trying to bypass that. A lot of other states do it. The federal government does it. They would go over here and a judge would sentence them to 5 years and say, report to Clearwater Community Correction Center on February 1st. And they would just show up, and it would alleviate some of the population problem we've got over there. I'm impressed that that's down, that J&S is down under 100, but this would further that. And we've got a Senate author. He said he would file it tomorrow, so we should have a committee assignment, and depending on what committee they put that in, probably public safety. And then I've talked to a lot of senators, I've talked to people in the House. I haven't found one person that says, no, we don't want to do that. Everybody sounds like they're on board. We haven't been talking to people from smaller counties that rely on J&S prisoners for their budget, so we might get some pushback there, but at this point, I haven't talked to one person that would oppose it. As far as the financing, so we've got the budget board, as you're all aware of, and then we've got the county commissioners, and we've got this thing called an excise tax board, and then we've got what's the other one? Where they determine whether we got enough money or not. The what? No, the one that determines how much money we've got to spend. No, anyway. But at the end of the day, the excise tax board, what they do is they look at the budget that's actually proposed by the budget board. There are certain things that are constitutional mandates that are supposed to come first. And we just got an AG opinion on this about 6 months ago. And the law says it, and the Attorney General agreed that these constitutional mandates must be funded first. And there's this pesky little word in there that says that county jail must be adequately funded. I don't think there's anybody in this room or anybody that knows anything about the county jail for the last 35 years that would argue it's been adequately funded. But not one time did that excise tax board say, whoa, wait a minute, this budget's not right. They stamped it every year for 35 years. Now you've got this county excise tax board, but it's actually a state agency. I mean, you would think it's a county board, but it's actually a state agency, and they're a watchdog over the counties, and they're supposed to ensure that the counties are adequately funding constitutional mandates. So that's what we're going to be looking at, me and my committee of one, to make sure that the county jail is adequately funded this time around, because I don't think anybody would argue that it is. I've been talking to Miles about this. He just gave me this proposal that he's working on for a sales tax. They're trying to get that ironed out, which that'll help a lot. But like Mr. Holman said several times, if they dump $500 million in our lap tomorrow, that new jail's still 2 years away. So what are we going to do in the meantime? So we need to make sure it's adequately funded. And I've been talking to members of the budget board and the county commissioners and just let them know that I know about that board and that AG opinion and what the law says. So hopefully we can get a little more money budgeted that's closer to what we need. So, and I think if nobody minds, I'll just keep the finance committee as a subcommittee the way it is. That's okay with you.
How does everyone else feel about that?
I have no thoughts.
Do what? I don't have any, just me. What was the question? Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay.
Fertland, you would have to add subcommittee members in order for that subcommittee to be operational. So I feel like as long as there's due diligence on your part to add additional subcommittee members, I mean, I don't have any hesitancy in you continuing to operate as a formal subcommittee.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Okay.
There's just a lot more formality to the subcommittee structure. So that's, I mean, whoever. Mm-hmm.
Which you're fundamentally already doing it. You're just not calling them committee members.
Right. Mostly what people that I'm talking to are, like I say, members of the budget board, the county commissioners, state legislators, and I don't see any of them wanting to be on my subcommittee. So,
yeah.
And I'm open on this. Whatever you guys think's right. I
think
care.
you'll have a lot more flexibility. So really, it's up to you as chair. What matters most to you: the formality of the subcommittee and having subcommittee meetings here that are clerked, or having the flexibility. Yeah, it can still be topic discussion on our agendas. Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Would you like to make a motion, sir?
I move that we dissolve the finance committee, finance and operation committee.
Go ahead and hit motion. Thank you. Oh. Yes.
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 Yes, and I messed up and
Well,
canceled my second.
I hit it too quickly. So sorry. All right. That gets us to the end of our agenda. Any additional comments before we adjourn?
Fine job.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you all very much for your presence and your commitment to this work. Appreciate you. So with that, we will adjourn for today. Thank you. Oh, you're right. I would like to
We're
mention,
excited.
I was so excited. I thought, man, we were efficient and everything. And then look at me.
It's a prior proper motion and that's non-debatable, so I went ahead and pushed,
Oh,
make the
amazing.
motion,
And
so.
I will second that motion. Yes.
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 This is why we need this woman over here. She's the most important person in the room, let me tell you.
We are trying to.
Right?
I do